what are you waiting to feel before you start?
More confident, more prepared, more certain?
But what if confidence comes after the first step, not before it?
Today, Dr. Christiane Schroeter shows us how small, steady actions can close that gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it. Stick around to the end to learn how to increase your confidence in 1 minute or less.
Hi, I'm Claude.
And I'm Jess.
We are corporate employees by day, entrepreneurs by night, and work besties for life.
Join us as we explore how work besties lift each other up, laugh through the chaos, and thrive together in every industry.
Work besties!
You on the podcast. We would love to hear a bit about you.
Well, thanks so much for having me, Jess and Claude. My name is Christiane Schroeter. I live in beautiful, sunny California. You can hear from my accent, though, and Claude immediately picked up on this, that deep down I am actually German and born in Germany, moved to the United States, though, 27 years ago. So I lived here more than half of my life and earned my graduate degree here, my PhD, and now raise my two amazing daughters in California, where I live with my husband, work as a leadership strategist. I'm a TEDx speaker and author and a full-time professor teaching marketing, innovation, entrepreneurship.
Do you sleep? How do you get that all done?
It's the California sun. It just keeps you growing and flowing. It's like...
Maybe we should move, Jess.
Yes, I think so. So you've got quite an interesting background, and obviously you've lived multiple places. You've earned a PhD, very impressive. You know many languages, and you built your career in your second language. So knowing all of this, I'm curious from your point of view, how do you help people stop overthinking and create change through those small, repeatable actions you talked about?
Well, that's a beautiful question, Jess. So I think most of the time, what we first of all struggle with is even saying out loud what our goal really is. We already lack confidence in even sharing like things from our bucket list. And it's actually kind of like a funny question. It's like, what are you afraid of? That people are going to laugh at you? And I mean, if they do laugh at you, then just laugh with them or just say, yeah, it's on my bucket list and just own the moment. I call it stepping into your voice. So you need to learn to verbalize your goals. And that may be starting with simplifying your goal. So for instance, I want to travel the world. Well, exactly where do you want to go? I mean, you can't just like, hey, take a globe and take it for a spin, right? Where do you want to go? Simplify your goal, pick one country, and then verbalize it. Say it out loud, right? So I always say the simplification and the telling of the goal is really the first two steps that start building your confidence and actually getting started with small steps. Because what I just did with you is I shared two steps that get you kicked off, but at the same time, I haven't even actually done anything yet. I basically just simplified my goal. I shared it with you, but now I need to choose the very first step, the first petite practice to actually get started, right? That's the most important thing.
I'm just so curious, how did you get on this journey to, I don't know, shape how people think about confidence or how you frame these things? Like, you saying that is so impressive. I would never think of it that way. How did you start this?
Well, because I struggled with it myself. So what happened was that I knew deep down, growing up in Germany really wasn't where I ultimately would end up. And sometimes you asked me earlier about feelings. We do feel that our inner selves, our inner goals don't always align with what we actually do outside in this world. So you sometimes feel like there's more to it, but I need to travel and actually kind of find myself. I need to explore what else is out there so that every time when you travel to a different country or you travel to different cities or you meet new people, think of it as like you're trying on shoes and you're like, I like this pair. Oh, maybe I like this pair. So they like a little um Cinderella. She's the one with the shoes, right?
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to get my
I was
Disney
gonna say, you
stories.
could say me, I have a lot of shoes. So that's a
Oh,
very
like a Jess.
She does.
perfect analogy.
Like a Jess.
It's
Like
certain
you would
pictures
be,
of all my
hmm,
shoes right
hmm.
now.
So you need to find the Goldilocks of goals, right? Like you have this goal. I want to find a place where my inside and my outside line up. But all along, you're just trying them on, and you're like, oh, do I like this? What do I like about it? Do I like that? And that is so important because think about the word stuck. It's not just like in your mind, it's also being stuck maybe in a location. And sometimes getting unstuck starts with getting up physically from your desk and start moving somewhere different because the movement creates the motion and the motion creates, the digestion of the thoughts. It's like, oh, no, here we go. I'm actually trying on shoes. I am in motion. And I think that's so important that sometimes we just feel like staring at the screen is like magically going to create solutions. For me, my best ideas, my trademark Petite Practice, my books, nothing ever happens staring at the computer screen and just waiting for like the magic fairy dust to come. It just doesn't happen that way, right? I think it happened when I'm under the shower, when I'm on a walk, when I'm brushing my teeth. All of a sudden, like, oh my gosh, I want an idea. Where's the notepad, right? This is how it happens. And that's how you need to think about your life, that your thoughts, they're just kind of like twirling around in there, and you need to give them some space and some freedom to actually find the landing spots. It's like airplanes in landing position. All of a sudden, they're like, oh, this is my port. This is where I go. This is how it all pops together. Yep.
Oh, I love that.
One of my question is confidence. Confidence
Mhm.
is not the lack of confidence just one moment, right? Sometimes it's your state of mind that is lack of confidence. So you can't all the time be moving around because, so in that case, how do you make your lack of confidence in general, like lesser a little bit?
Beautiful, beautiful question. So I use what I call the step approach. So I share with you the simplification, the tell that you have to say it out loud. And alone, the tell, Claude, is already what helps solidify your confidence because you're saying it out loud. And so your mind actually hears your voice, and your voice starts anchoring the belief that this is one of my goals and I want to do this. But then, of course, ideally, you're also telling somebody else. Ideally, maybe somebody who holds you accountable for actually getting this done. So S, simplification, T for telling, and now we have E for examining. So now you get started on your goal, big goal, you're breaking it down into a simplification. You're telling somebody what your big goal is. And now you need to kind of look at, all right, what are the first steps I can do today? This is so important. So your confidence really gets built by taking action today so that when tomorrow you come in, you're like, I already did something with that. And so you feel confident. You're like, I'm a doer, I'm an action taker. And then based on that comes to your last one, which is the P. So you can praise your progress. You're like, I simplified, I told somebody, I examined, I started, and now I am on a roll. High five to myself for actually doing something and not just feeling stuck. And so the confidence comes by keeping repeating the STEP and chipping along on your path to whatever your big goal would be, right? And I think that is so important that you don't need to spend a lot of money or a lot of time or even creating something that you feel comfortable with. It's all in you, but you just need to start with that very first small step, that petite practice.
So a lot of time, why do high achieving professional sometimes, and I think a lot of women as well, especially women, have this lack of confidence or actually having this complex, the imposter
Mhm.
complex? Why is that?
I think it kind of like goes in both in like a in nearly like an axis, right? On one axis being the fact that you have doubt in your own ability. And on the other axis is maybe that you have doubt because you're really truly not 100% sure. So it's like a combination of lack of knowledge and lack of confidence. And what you can really think about is you gain more confidence by sharing what you do with others. It's nearly like a mini elevator pitch. But you can also educate yourself. So I always say reading is like a completely understated way of building your skills. Because think about this. These people put their life into creating a book that teaches you skills that you right now don't have. So if you feel like, I actually don't know very much about this, well, then read about it. And if you feel, you know what, I actually knew that, well, then yes, high five to you, right? Then great. Then you can actually start sharing it. But the doubt is just sometimes more like a fact that you actually need to figure this out yourself. I did know that. I just doubted my own ability to do that. And I think what we frequently do is because we start questioning ourselves, we hold back our voice, where in reality, we leave a meeting and we think, well, what everybody said in the room is something I could have totally shared with as well. So you kind of beat yourself up or you regret that you didn't share anything about it. So what helps me sometimes is already prepare like little sentences that you could share is like ahead of time. And then when you join the meeting, you feel prepared. So that's your little petite practice ahead of the meeting. So you see who's going to be in the room, what are we going to talk about? And that's the education and the knowledge piece. And by preparing the little pieces, you gain the confidence in stepping in and not feeling like an imposter. It actually comes from a point of knowledge and from confidence.
That makes sense. So one question also actually that we were talking with Jess earlier, and I think it hits me too. And I think also a bit you is what would you tell someone who feels that their accents or their background or differences makes them less credible? Because I'm going to give you a little why I know one of why my self confidence presenting is because earlier in my career, I had to reverse instead in front of a VP and every 5 minutes saying, no, they won't understand that. How many language are you saying? And that really drilled in my mind that I am not good, even though it's been 20 years. Well, yeah, 20 years, but it stayed in my mind. I am not good in presenting because people will not understand me. So how can you stop this narrative? Because I know it's not real, but that really like hurt me.
Claude, what you're bringing up is so true. And it's not just for the multiple language speakers among us. It's true for, I would say, nearly every individual alive, to where at one point in their life was this person that really crushed their goals and dreams. And it was a really hard moment. It kind of really completely threw them off track and scratched their confidence. Like, for instance, my husband is a beautiful artist, but at one point in his life, there was an art teacher who took one of the art pieces he created and just kind of crumpled it up and threw it into the trash can and said, start over.
My goodness.
I mean, think about that. It's like, why would you ever do this? But then they thought they're going to make a point. And in your case, somebody made a point in pointing out that it's maybe not the first language and thought that maybe that's like something that needs to be pointed out, right? I think that in general, what we need to do in our mind is we just need to first let that go. Elsa and Frozen, you need to let it go. That's just something that I shouldn't let their limitations strike my confidence and limit me from sitting at the table and speaking up. You have to just say, and I'm sorry that you're sometimes struggling understanding me. I can slow down, or what would really help you here? And I mean, quite honestly, like sometimes it's just asking what helps you and making this an easier journey for you. And,
That's true.
and if you
Yeah.
really feel hurt, you could just say, ouch, that hurt. I mean, wow. Just express your emotion to them because people don't even know sometimes
Yeah.
how hurtful it is.
Claude, thank you for sharing. I know you present and you do an
I still
amazing
hate it.
job.
I still hate it. And I prepare.
I think that's a misnomer. Imposter syndrome doesn't mean that you now, like, overcoming imposter syndrome doesn't mean you now love to present to people or to do the thing.
Yeah.
This means you figured out ways to overcome that
Hmm.
hurdle because of whatever was holding you back.
Yeah.
Claude, next time when you present, just say, all right, so sure, I have an accent. Did you want me to just continue in French or how should we do
Yeah,
this here today? Right?
you
Because
could
Or
do
just
great.
start in French.
Yeah, yeah.
no
Just start
accent
talking
in
French.
that language. I mean,
I
you know
mean,
multiple languages, don't you? Oh, you don't. Oh, you only speak English. Oh,
let me bring this down
hmm.
to all of you poor people who only know English.
Let's lower this whole
That's
level
me. It's literally
down.
me.
But I think also by that is that what help us also is to understand that when we want to manage someone also to be very careful and being kind
Mhm.
and not
Ah,
to crush,
beautiful.
someone's
Yeah.
spirit.
And I always say, and I love that you say the word kind. I always say there's a difference between nice and kind, right?
Hmm.
So you don't want to be just nice and say, oh, that Claude, love your talk. It's like, okay, thanks. No, you want to be kind. You want to say, I really enjoyed when you started talking about the fact that imposter syndrome impacted you personally. That was really interesting, right? So that's kind because you're pointing
Mhm.
out something that you took away from that you enjoyed. And so don't just like hand out niceties because you think that people enjoy it. It actually makes them sometimes question it. It's like, did they actually really love it or did they say that?
Yeah, say from that perspective, if there is like, so Claudia, you're hitting on like a really important topic that I think we get a lot of questions on from the work bestie community, which is if you do have imposter syndrome, what are some other things I could be thinking to do?
The most important thing is you have to share what you actually do. So it's great in a conversation to lead the conversation forward. But if you never share your accomplishments, and that's why I said the P, the praise your progress, is so important for yourself because it keeps you propelling on that second or third day when things start to get really hard. But it's also important for others. So let's say you're in this meeting, you shared your one or two sound bites, and you still feel a little bit like an imposter. Well, you feel like an imposter because none of these people in the room, you can't even blame them, knows how amazing you are. So you have to share your accomplishments. I keep a running list of things that I do, right? On Sundays, I go in and I kind of create a little bit like a little praise board, right? It's here, Serenity Sunday. So what did I accomplish this week? And that means, I simplified, I told people, but then I have to examine looking back, what did I accomplish this week? Oh, here I was in a podcast recording. And oh, there I published an article in Business Insider. Oh, there. And so what you need to do is your little, you can call it whatever you want to, Brad board, Serenity Sunday, blah, blah, blah. I
I don't know.
mean,
I
like,
really
think
like
about
Serenity Sunday. I'm going to borrow that one.
let's do Serenity Sunday. All right. So Serenity Sunday. So now you got, let's just say you got one thing, right? We don't need to go like crazy. We got one thing. We
Mhm.
appeared on this most amazing podcast right here. And now you're like, oh, I actually never told anybody about this. What a loss to others. Because they could have learned from these amazing ladies on this podcast. They would have had fun, they would have laughed. And so you stole the information from them. Why? Don't hold back. And at the
Mm.
same time, how do you want to be seen as an expert or an authority if you don't share your accomplishments with others? So you feel like an imposter. And again, you cannot even blame others because they don't know anything. So what you could even say is, all right, so I'm working on this task right here. And where I'm at right now is I'm step 3, right? And good news is last week I was on this podcast and I talked about this. So I feel the angle that I'm going to go to step 4 is this. What do you think about that? right? And they're like, oh, I didn't even know you were on this podcast right there. It's like, yeah, I was, right? And so you kind of like weave in a little bit of like not making you look like, by the way, I was in a podcast, and everybody will
No,
like,
the
yay.
non-bragging brag, yeah.
So you're
I
like,
was
well,
going to ask that actually. Like, what is the part where between bragging
mm,
and making a statement of your accomplishments?
yeah. So
And
go
I
for it.
feel like, sorry, I feel like I like also, the Serenity Sunday just for ourselves. So realizing ourselves, this is what I did. So I belong there because last week I did this, and this. And not thinking, oh my God, I missed that. I didn't do this. I should have done that.
Yeah,
Yes,
totally,
you're
This is
totally.
like
laughing.
literally getting into the psyche of how Claude operates on a Sunday and how Jess operates on a Sunday because I'm like bragging myself up, like, let me make sure people know all the stuff I did. And you're like, I have this
And I'm
list to
like,
get
okay,
done.
I'm sorry. I didn't do this. I should have done that way. Yeah. Yin and
So
yang.
let's talk maybe, and I can
Yeah.
also create. I have some visuals over here.
Oh,
This is like
We
meaning
love
awesome.
everybody has to
visuals.
watch now. Okay, so I'm going to create like a little thing for Claude. Yellow sticky notes. This is to-dos, right? So you write your to-dos on there. Pink sticky notes. This is your ta-das. These are the things you accomplish. So there are your goals or your to-dos on the yellows. All the pink ones, whenever you accomplish something, you're going to write them on there. You're not even going to mix and mingle. You're going to keep them separate. And then you can even get like totally fancy. We have blue. And then you could be like, all right, and this is what I want to share on social media to whoever doesn't even know me yet, is not in the same room yet, but maybe is kind of like, I might appear like in a search term or anything, or people are looking for like some new connections, and all of a sudden I pop up because my blue was like totally on their screen. And that's like for the rest of the world. Your
I love
amazingness
that.
all of a sudden is just oozing out of you. And you're like, I am on a roll. And so good news is because your to-do list is like totally separate, you're not like, oh my gosh, I didn't get all these things done. Don't worry, because you have pink. Actually realizing there's a thing called a pink slip, but let's not even go down that road.
All right. Maybe we should switch
Yes,
the
I
pink and
didn't
the
do that
blue.
well.
Switch them.
The new pink slip.
The new pink slip.
The prevention of pink slips. I'm going to ask the question. Let's say you are not the one with the imposter syndrome opportunities, but your work bestie is. Being the work bestie who doesn't have it, what are some things we can do to help that individual?
Okay. So your friend has imposter syndrome and you
Yes.
know it.
And I know it.
Okay. So
Do
you're
you
the
know
con-
it?
Asking for a friend.
Mm. Yeah, so you could be the accountability partner, right? You could just do the teaser text. Like have like
Okay.
a text message that goes out
Yeah.
with like a little give me a little teaser about your day or your week or whenever you want to do this. The weekly wins, right?
Oh, that's
Oh,
cute.
an app audience, I can share this with you too. I created like a little app that's called Weekly Wins. I can share that with you.
Oh, I love
And
that.
yeah, and because
So you can
my
share
weekly
broader
wins,
too, huh? Okay.
yeah,
That's
and where I'm going with this is in my weekly wins, it's like business, personal, but then the third question is really important. Where do I feel I won even though nobody saw? And because you're besties, you might have seen it, but your bestie is beating him or herself up about that because they didn't even notice that it was so amazing. And so you can do like the gentle little steering committee. That's like, well, do you remember that moment when I wasn't feeling well? And you kind of really built me up. I really want to thank you for that because that was pretty amazing right there. And I really appreciate that in those stressful moments, you're like the calm confidence that I need to keep pushing through.
I love that.
And sometimes people don't do that enough, that
Right.
somebody says thank you or that was really amazing. And especially if you're like in business meetings and everybody needs to hustle on, right? I think that sometimes in business meetings, it's really nice to start with say something positive to the person next to you or say thank you for something they did amazing this week or this month or whatever. Just to get used to that muscle that needs to show gratitude to somebody else and needs to make them feel better. Because nobody would ever be sad if they get a thank you note by a text message, the little teaser text that we talked about. The thanks
Totally.
text. hmm
So I wonder also, as a manager,
hmm
maybe this is something, I don't know, it might be a bit too corny. But when your team meeting, for example, like weekly team meeting, I have a weekly team meeting with my team, and maybe saying like at the beginning, everybody kind of say something positive that they did or
hmm
something that a win that they had and they share. And that helps also for the team to have that muscle.
Do that all the time with teams that I work in. We basically start with what was your favorite moment? And to take off the pressure of some people that don't want to share, or maybe some teams are really big and you can't go around the room and listen to everybody because it's like, oh my gosh, this will take forever. Are we actually ever going to start our meeting? So you could create other ways of doing that, right?
Before we kicked off, you mentioned you have some exciting news. Do you want to share?
So exciting news kicking off my new book, Petite Practice, in the theme of this amazing podcast episode today. And of course, it will show you and help you how you can take steady, small steps to building a life full of momentum and real action. And of course, I want to share also the real action that you can do to build your confidence in 1 minute or less. It's really not always even creating words. Sometimes what helps me before I go into a meeting is I go to the bathroom and I just kind of look at myself in the mirror. And instead of focusing on things that are like, oh my gosh, I didn't do my mascara evenly, look at the left side. It's like, oh my gosh, what's going on the left eye? I don't do that. I basically just smile at myself. And sometimes it's hard because I don't feel like smiling at all. And I'm like, my gosh, I have to go to this meeting. But it actually kind of loosens your face muscles a little bit. And my mind eventually picks up on it. Maybe not immediately, but I just kind of, start smiling. And then eventually I'm like, all right, I think I'm ready now. And then I go, right. And that's the same thing when I drive to a meeting, when I'm standing in front of a mirror. I try to have a happy face in the car because you know how many people are really stressed.
Remind us again, where would we find this book?
Book is going to be available on Amazon on August 16th. It's exactly 1 year after my TEDx talk that is labeled Petite Practice or How Small Steps Build Your Confidence. So this book is basically what I took away from all the feedback I got from the TEDx talk and made it into this beautiful version of reading, of learning, and building your confidence.
Amazing. Congratulations on both successes, the TED Talk and the book. This is so cool.
You need more than a pink slip to be able to put all your achievements.
She has got a bunch of them. Don't worry, she'll cover it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Awesome. Well, so for our Work Bestie community, we'd love for you all to think of one thing that you might have been delaying because you didn't feel ready and taking that small action. And then obviously taking that next step back of looking back at the end of the week and seeing how you've accomplished it with that one step. So if you liked this episode, please like and subscribe. And with that, keep
Keep
supporting
supporting each other.
Remember, whether you're swapping snacks in the break room, rescuing each other from endless meetings, or just sending that perfectly timed meme, having a work bestie is like having your own personal hype squad.
So keep lifting each other up, laughing through the chaos, and of course, thriving. Until next time, stay positive, stay productive, and don't forget to keep supporting each other.